Hi, I'm Bob Spinozzi, and welcome to a special edition of Small Town. And I'm here with my favorite TV personality, Barbara McRae. Hi, Barbara.
It's mutual, by the way. And so, what are you doing?
Well, I was just thinking, we have commercial television, you have PBS, and then you have public access, which is what we do here.
Yeah.
And I just want to read a little bit of a description on what public access television is composed of.
Good, because I'm sure a lot of people, maybe most people, don't know.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Shoot, go. Public access television is a form of mass media where any of us can create content TV programming through cable TV. Created between 1969 and 1971 by the FCC, public access includes 3 separate channels for public, educational, and government access. All 3 channels carry the acronym PEG, P-E-G. Now let's briefly look at each of the 3. Public access TV is pretty much where any town resident can create a program that's transmitted through cable TV. The content revolves primarily, but not always, around community interest developed by individuals and nonprofit organizations. Now, educational access channel is generally used for educational purposes. In many towns, the channel has enhanced school curriculum. The government access channel is mainly devoted to public affairs and other civic meetings, generally reserved for town government purposes and not for educational or public access TV. Now, unlike public broadcasting, PBS, which is funded largely by grants and donations, PEG channels are generally funded by cable television companies. In Littleton, LCTV is funded by Verizon and Comcast exclusively. There's no town tax money involved. So our programs are available for viewing on YouTube or LCTV on demand. If you have Verizon Cable, the public access channel is channel 38. Educational is channel 36, and the government is channel 37. For Comcast subscribers, public access is channel 8, educational is channel 99, government access is channel 9. Sounds like quite a thing.
It is, yeah. I think we're lucky to have it and be able to use it the way we do.
Right.
But you're thinking of a show right now.
Yeah, now you remember I mentioned that any of us, any resident can, with certain restrictions rather and guidelines, can do a program yourself. I met with, my goodness, I have their names in front of me right now, but a couple of folks from Littleton Parks and Recreation, and we're going to do a show on pickleball. Pickleball.
Yeah.
Have you tried it?
No, have you?
I haven't, no.
No, I heard it's good exercise.
Yeah, the ball itself is similar to a wiffle ball, which I played for hours and hours and hours and hours growing up. You probably didn't, but
No, I didn't.
Station Manager Mark Rory did a lot of it. I know he did, he told me. So, but it's similar. The ball is similar.
Oh, how big, I wonder? Is it that small? No.
Well,
no.
it's smaller than a...
Tennis ball?
No, it's about the same size. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They play it out here on Shattuck Street at the tennis courts.
Right.
So we're going to find out all the differences between tennis and pickleball.
Huh.
Pickleball. Try to guess where the name pickleball came from.
Well, that's a weird one because
Really
who would use pickleball?
I know.
Tennis, you know.
Well, the game was discovered in the state of Washington in 1965. And a couple of folks were playing, a married couple, playing tennis. And they had a dog named Pickles running around grabbing the ball. So anyway, that's how it...
So it can't be called Billy Bob?
well, yeah, you can do it if you want.
Well, that's fun. So you're going to do that show, but do you know how many shows you've done over the years?
I've had a lot of fun doing them. Been doing it since 2005. You and I originally did a few shows together, and then Mark Crory and I came up with the concept of small town.
Right.
And we did a lot of stuff around town mainly.
Yeah.
But we did some other kinds of stuff too. I jotted down some of the, just 2 or 3 of the ones I really enjoyed. The one on the old historical churches in town, the Congregational Church of Littleton, the First Baptist Church of Littleton. The oldest church is the First Unitarian on Foster Street.
Yeah.
And, we touched on St. Anne's, was built in 1960.
Huh. Wasn't St. Anne's where
It was. It was on King Street in a building that was
the
demolished.
Masons have now?
Oh, yeah, that's right. It is that building.
Yeah.
It was that building.
Yeah.
That's where the original St. Anne's was.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we touched on their other church religious buildings in town, and I'm not going to name them now because I'm going to forget someone, so I'll just leave it at that. But that was a lot of fun. And then, it was really, really interesting to me to know that Cobb Poultry, which used to be off of Route 2A, a poultry breeding company.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Was bought out. There were mergers, there were acquisitions. And to make a long story short, it is really now what Tyson Food is. Tyson's Food, big giant company that we all are familiar with.
Wow.
And then the other one, of course, we had a vinegar processing company in Littleton. That became very fine. And Kraft Foods bought that, and and we did a show on diners, which was a lot of fun. I did the history of the production of diners. The Monarch Diner was the big diner in town.
Right.
It's where the Shell station is now.
Right.
And but there are many others.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, I guess you know where the studio started.
yeah, started at the Russell Street Middle School,
Right.
1991 or 1992. Right around 1995, moved to Shattuck Street. That's about when you became involved.
Actually, I became involved
Oh, you were at Russell Street.
at Russell Street when Carol McClatchy was teaching classes there for cable. And a friend of mine said, Barbara, I think you ought to go and take the class because you like people and you like faces, because at the time I was painting faces. And so I went over and I convinced Alan to come with me. I said, we should go together. So, because he was a photographer. When I met him, he was a photographer for the Army. And anyway, so I took the class, which she had us learn everything about giving a show. You had to learn the videography, the editing, the hosting, the whole thing. And so we did. And then at the end, she said, you have to do a show, all of you. So we did decide to do the Rotary Triathlon. It was coming up. And we were trying to figure out, how to do it and who was going to edit and who was going to do this. And they made me be the host, doing the interviews of the people that were in it and the Rotary people. It was very fun. I was surprised that I enjoyed it so much. And anyway, we did that show. And then I did one on edible plants with Sean Tierney. And we went to the woods and looked at all these plants that you can eat. I loved doing that one too. And so then I just continued. I just kept going. And then when we moved here, I moved with it. And enjoyed some directors that were there at the time coming and going. And we had Rebecca Conley and Sean, I think it was Sean Cantino and Alex, let me see if I
Alan Siegel.
have that here. Well, anyway, they were all here at the time, and so I had managed to get Edith Miller to host a show that I wanted to do called COA Today. And it was all about what's going on there. And also, I taped the school programs, grammar school, all the. Then I had Bernie Arugio interview people. So it was really fun. And then I just thought, I got to keep doing this. And then I decided to just take over.
You showed me the one, I did see one interview that Ernie did down at Gary's Farm Stand, in fact.
Yeah, yeah. He was fun to do it. I mean, the only thing that Bernie did, which Mark doesn't allow us to do, is he turned and said, oh, it's okay if you make a mistake. Barbara's going to fix it. And I'd go, you don't do that. He was really funny. And Edith, to me, I don't know if the right word is for her hosting. I called it camp because Edith was the type person that said, so today we're having lunch in the diner and you know, you ought to come. And I used to go, that is so cute. The way she did it was, they'd better go, that's for sure. So I guess I just have enjoyed, plus the fact that I started doing it at a much older age than most people, I suppose. But I felt you always can learn something, you know.
Right.
Go ahead and learn something.
Well, I started around 2000, not around, I did start in May of 2005. And some of the directors that you mentioned, I was here when Nathan Cantino was here, and then Alan Siegel followed him. Yeah. And presently, Mark McRae came shortly after that.
Yeah, our very own
Yeah.
Mark McRae. And I'm sorry I said Sean Cantino, because you're right, it was Nathan.
But let's stress now to everyone that any of you can do a show if you like. There are guidelines to follow, and Mark will tell you about those.
Or they can think of a show and have someone else do it too. You know, right. They could take care of all that work.
Well, here we are, okay? We're in this big studio.
Yep.
And since, you know, I was here 2005, you were here in 1995 or shortly after that, when the existing studio was here. Big renovation we had in 2012.
Right, right.
Big renovation, big differences.
Do you remember what it looked like before?
I can't say it on television, but it looked kind of ratty. I'll use the word ratty.
You just said it on television. Well, it was fun because that's the other thing I got to do because I love.
It didn't look that bad. It really didn't.
No.
But compared to the way it does now, of course.
Yeah, we can't say ratty after all. We did our own sets and everything, and I thought it was beautiful. But but this is gorgeous, and maybe we can show people.
Want to do a tour?
Yeah, let's do one.
Let's get them now. Show them a tour.
Well, hello, guys. I guess you want to go for a tour, so me. Okay. Well, first of all, this is where you were sitting just now. This is called Main Street, and this is where I have my desk, of course. And these are our three channels: public, education, and government, PEG, as Bob explained. And this area that you were just over is just like a little green room area for people to sit and chat. And if you want to look down on your feet, which is kind of curious, see? Right below your feet there, you see that this floor is the original gym floor that has been refurbished and redone when we renovated the studio. So it looks, you know, really nice. It came out great. Isn't it beautiful? All right, so we continue down Main Street here. We have a couple of editing suites, and then look, Nancy Hilsinger, the editing guru. We're going to be talking to her later, so we'll be back, Nancy. So as we turn the corner here, this is the main studio, and we have a couple of different areas. Over in this area here is kind of the more traditional area where people have to bring in the chairs, bring in the plants, bring in the sets in order to make their own custom set. And then over in this area, this is our green screen wall. And this is where we probably shoot 95% of our shows. Because with the green screen wall, you know, you can be anywhere you want. If I walk over here and look at the screen, you'll see me, hello, and you'll also see the set. That's a green screen back there. So that's what the green screen does. It's pretty cool. We use robotic cameras in the studio. There's 1, 2, 3 robotic cameras, and each of them have these teleprompters. And so that when you're sitting in your chair and you're looking directly into the lens of the camera, which is that little thing there, the words are written right on the screen for you to read. That's a teleprompter. So we have 3 of those, which is pretty cool. And then we have another editing suite tucked back here. We use IMAX for all our editing with Final Cut. This here is the staircase, obviously, up to the stage area. This used to be the stage in the old school. We've kind of closed it off to make it look like a little mouse hole. But we come up the stairs, and up in this area we have yet another iMac editing suite. We also have an area where we can work and do some things, have meetings here if we want. It's kind of little pre-production meetings or whatever you want. Back here are some offices. Well, just to the left over here we have a little break room. But this here is Kirby Dolak, the video production supervisor's office. He's off on a shoot right now, so he's not here, but that's his desk. Right behind him, or beside him I should say, are this big monstrosity of a rack. And that, basically with all those wires and stuff, that's kind of the brains of our channels. We do everything on digital now, so all our programs are stored on hard drives down here, and everything's automated when we play back our shows. So it used to be in the old days we'd have VCRs. Probably saw some pictures of the old studio. Someone would have to be here at night or program the 4 or 5 VCRs that we have to play back the different shows. So now everything's automated. So we're on basically 24/7. This is the control room area where all the studio's cameras are fed into, and we're about ready to tape the segment that you're going to see next here. But this is the control room, and it's pretty neat stuff we have back here. It's when we teach our workshops, we teach people how to use all this stuff. So it may look intimidating, but it's really not. You can either click on the screen to cut to the different cameras, or there's a kind of a control surface board that's the equivalent of that, audio board. And that computer over there is for the teleprompter. Judy Reed is our production coordinator, and her office is back there. And then there's another door that leads us back out to our meeting room. And so that's pretty much it.
Okay, we're in the studio now in front of the green screen. We're with Nancy Hilsinger, who's going to join us a little bit later. We're going to talk about her editing skills. But right now, we want to show you what the green screen's like. We can be anywhere that we want to be. And today we're going to be in the Common by the clock that was donated at the Tercentennial by Wood Stove, what's his name? Oh boy, we're all going to forget.
We're old. It's okay.
But anyway, seriously, this is really neat.
Yeah.
And you and I did your show, Littleton Common, at a big desk that was nothing more than an insert.
Right.
And you were asked a couple of times by a couple of people, tell me about that great-looking desk that you sit behind.
Yeah, they actually came in and wanted to see it. And it was just a covered table, with green cloth on it so that it, like the green screen, it showed a beautiful desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got great people working back there that know how to do this good stuff.
Now, we have a couple of other areas in the studio where we also tape. It's not, they do not have a green screen. This is actually our main site.
Yeah, especially if we have guests that, you know, have a certain hobby, or we need to show a building. This is how we can do it. We
Right.
can use the green screen and have the pictures in back of us and show what they do, which is really fabulous.
We didn't have this before the studio was renovated. We're going to show some old pictures now of the old studio, which I kind of misrepresented. It wasn't what I said it was. It was just, it was old. Well, it was the original gymnasium for the school.
Right. And all the backgrounds that I used for the lunches that the friends gave, I used cardboard and did sets, you know, painted things. So that was our green screen at the time,
Yeah.
cardboard.
Well, when I came on, you were sitting at this little desk by yourself with a microphone, a fake microphone.
Right.
And but anyway, we had a lot of fun in the old setup too.
Sure, sure. I think
So-
we have a lot of fun in general.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. And right now we have Nancy Hilsinger joining us. Nancy, of course, is the stir that stirs the drink. That's one way to
crack
put it.
editor.
She's and of course, we don't drink, any of us. So
No.
Yeah, no.
we don't
Good.
have to talk about that.
I wouldn't know what to do without her,
Yeah.
because Nancy makes our show look terrific.
In a nutshell, she makes us look a lot better than we actually might be.
It's a challenge.
How did you get started here as a volunteer?
Well, it's basically partly because of her, largely because of her. It was this August of 2013, and I was looking for some new volunteer work to do. So I ran into Barbara in the hall and told her what I was looking for, and she brought me in here. And I just went, okay, this is it. I'm hooked. I didn't know what I was going to do here, but I knew I was going to do it here. And I certainly never thought I'd be doing video editing, that's for sure.
What year was this?
2013, August of 2013.
So you got a year's experience, and you did a lot of work for the Tercentennial.
I did. Well, I started out, it started with, I took, Mark McRae was having a video production workshop. The next week after all this started. I didn't have any time to think about, no, you're not going to do it. Yeah, you are going to do it. So I took that, and then I thought, this is great. I can edit all my own home movies with this. Still haven't gotten around to that, but I digress.
How many years later?
Yeah, almost 9. I had good intentions, but didn't happen. So the next thing I knew, I was editing your Littleton Common show. And it took about 3 months sitting with Mark, and I don't know what I would have done without his expertise to guide me, because he put up with me. Oh, I took notes, everything. Just stop talking. I'm taking notes, and that was great. And then after that, I did a lot of shows for the Tricentennial, and a little bit at a time. And then it kind of grew from there, because as more people started doing shows, Bill Vales did a lot of shows and stuff. So
Well, let's go back to that for just a second, if we can. You did a lot of work for the Tercentennial. We had a whole series alone in-house here, 300 seconds series.
yeah,
300 seconds.
yeah.
You did a
I
bunch
did
of
all
those.
yeah.
They're 5-minute shows.
I even did the introduction. That was,
Yes, you-
he said, Mark said to me,
That's when you started to get creative.
why don't you create an introduction for the 300 seconds? And I went, sure.
But we had a lot of guests who were associated, in-town residents who were
Right.
associated with the Tercentennial,
Right.
that we had separate shows with
Yep.
them here. You
Yep.
did all that editing as well.
Yeah.
So Nancy, you have edited a lot of shows. Do you know how many? And
Well, before COVID, I was averaging like 40 to 60 hours a month. It depended on what I had going on in the queue. Sometimes I'd have maybe 1 or 2 shows. Other times I remember having 5 or 6 going at once, and it was like, how am I going to do this? I'll never get it all done. But well, this one is more important than that one. Yours was always the deadline one, so I had to do that one. And then it dropped quite a bit during COVID. But I still did a lot during COVID. I was shocked because you got so creative about how to do your show, from 2 miles apart.
yeah, we did.
Oh, we did one from Barbara's
Yeah,
swimming
from the
pool
swimming
at her
pool,
house,
yeah, and out in the courtyard.
We did one outside in the
Yeah,
courtyard.
yeah. But so it's been almost 9 years, and let me get this right now. I've put in, would you believe, 3,750 hours.
Oh my goodness.
I've edited 355 shows, and that includes 65 during COVID that I did at home. I looked and I said, no, that can't be right. So I rechecked it, and I did. I don't know. It just,
Doesn't seem like enough.
no, it seems like, how did you do 65 shows? I mean, there was nothing going on. But anyway,
Well,
I did.
I felt like you were.
Bill Vales did a big chunk.
He
of
did a
that.
big chunk, yeah. Well, for COVID, during COVID, he did just 6 Tech Talk things that were COVID related that he did from home in New Hampshire. It was a riot because he'd tape it on his cell phone, and then he'd send it to me, and then I'd edit it, and then I'd send it back, and then he'd send it to me. Oh, it was a riot. But anyway, and I worked on, I figured out 18 different series over the years. Now, some were just a few shows, some were more, and I even pulled out 2 that used to be on Littleton Common. Bill Vales used to do a Tech Talk segment on
Right.
say that 3 times fast. Used to do a Tech Talk segment on Littleton Common, but I pulled it out and made a separate series
Sure.
out of it.
Yeah.
And I ended up with, I think, 32 episodes of that. And the other one I pulled out and made a separate series was, I made your guest segment into something called Uncommon Interviews.
Right.
And would you believe the last one we did was the 60th one of those?
No, I keep thinking you did hundreds more, it seems.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. When we hit 60, I said, no, that can't be. But
Wow.
anyway.
Okay, Nancy, I've heard you describe that editing can be a little bit like a puzzle. So describe to us and show some of the clips of some of the shows that illustrate that.
It is like a puzzle. That's a very good analogy because the raw footage, which is what we're doing here, taping this, that's the raw footage, and that's what I start with. And then that's like the borders of a puzzle, speaking of puzzles. And then everything else is filling in the pieces. So I have titles I add, backgrounds, music, special effects, sound effects, and then other video or photos that would illustrate or enhance whatever we're doing.
Can you show us?
Yeah, I put together a little group of clips that illustrate all of those things. So we'll show that.
We'll show right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Welcome to Littleton Common. I'm Barbara McRae.
You put that puzzle together very, very well, didn't you?
Thank you.
That's for sure.
Well, that's the fun part because, you know, you start with the, as they say, the raw footage, and then it's like, now what can I do to make this, you know, different?
Yeah.
So it's a challenge over the years to, you know, well, this is what I did on the last one. What can I do on this one? So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, but it always turns out beautifully.
I must be fun because I'm still here.
We are too.
You are too.
Right.
We're
we
so
all
glad. Yes.
Because it is fun.
It is fun.
But, you know, you've also said that editing allows you to be creative. So as we saw in the clips, but are there some other examples that reflect this?
Yeah, I have two examples. My favorite one is I had for an episode of Littleton Rocks, there was a model of a dinosaur tooth sitting on the table. So I basically took that and moved it up into the mouth of the model of the dinosaur skeleton to show where it would go if it was going there. Yeah, that was fun. And the other one I did that was fun for the 2017 Middle School Science Fair, I did a very quick thing in the beginning where I used the retiming feature to speed up some of the footage, and you know, kids running around and the Lone Ranger playing in the background. And then I had one where I slowed it down, so that was fun.
You know, Nancy, I guess you and I were talking about this the other day, and how we watch television a whole lot different
yes,
way now.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I know that I am always watching the background. Is that a green wall, or are they really there?
Yeah.
The host, how they're asking questions. Also editing. Oh, they should have edited that out.
Yep.
So you get very critical now of what you see.
Well, I started doing that as soon as I took that video production workshop. I'd go home and I'd go, okay, now, how would I do that? And could I just, okay, and you know, I don't watch television the same. I don't. It's just so funny. As soon as you're aware of it, you just look at it completely
I'm that way
differently.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I guess I know when there's a green wall because sometimes they have a frame around them.
Yes, yes, yeah.
It is fun, especially watching mysteries.
Aren't we
You
the little
didn't really
critics?
do
Yeah.
that. You know, it's
We know in the old days in the movies, they'd have these things for people in cars. And you know, you knew it was like the bouncing up and down, and you knew it was all fake. But that was, you know, we didn't know anything about this.
especially if you see the background going around twice.
Yeah, yeah.
The same.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that was
It's
fun.
all magic.
Well,
All right. Well, thank you again.
yes.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
You'll be editing this show, of
I
course.
will be editing this show. Yeah.
So I'm sure it'll turn
come out great,
the best.
yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Barbara, that was fun.
Yes, it was. I hope that by showing it, people understand what we do more and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, you know, thanks for watching. Barbara and I enjoy doing this, and you take care of yourself now, and we'll see you next time.
Ta-da.